Okay, so hi everyone, welcome on board. Today I have a very amazing personality with me to talk to you guys about, how the careers and opportunities have been changing across BBA. Like it's one of the most upcoming programs. So we have Dr. Raul out here, who's from Woxsen University. In fact, he's the Pro Vice Chancellor at Woxsen. So thank you so much, sir, for taking out time for us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Lovely. So, sir, just wanted to, firstly, like you come with so much of a lot of global exposure yourself. Like, you have been there and you are training with the students out here at Woxsen. So what do you think, like how important is this whole aspect for an undergraduate student to understand what's happening globally?
Well, if you are not exposed to internationalization or international standards, then ultimately in whichever line of work you would like to explore, you will fail miserably. Mainly because globalization is not just an option. It's not being an option for 2 decades now. And right now, as we speak, even I'm from Spain. I mean, if I'm not aware of what is happening in other countries, I will cease to exist professionally. So obviously, for any student that wants to get into a degree, has to understand that you need to know what is happening in Afghanistan now, for example, to know how this impacts business and education overall and industries, how the petrol prices have increased in India over the last couple of months and why. That is all because of globalization. So as we discussed, if you are not global, ultimately you will be nowhere. That is the main inconvenience.
Lovely. That's a very important perspective. And in fact, what you see around what's happening in Afghanistan, it's like really alarming for all of us, to make sure we are aware and we stand across through all of these things as well. So you have been at in Spain and you're also teaching out here. Do you think the kind of curriculum that we have, is it more practically aligned overseas as compared to India, or are the colleges and universities adapting to practical learning here as well?
Well, if I give you the diplomatic answer and I tell you that yes, they're adapting and everything is going smoothly, then it will sound fascinating. However, most institutions in the country are not still stuck on very old standards, which is very theory-based. Unfortunately, the industry changes every day, and you need to adjust on that particular dynamics. One of the parts that we have included internally is there are multiple dimensions, but one of them is for the students to be exposed to the industry. Obviously, the internship is there, but beyond that, there are capstone projects which are based on the degree. Alongside this, faculty also conduct and pursue faculty internships. Now, the students alone do not do internships. The faculty are also sent for internships in the industry. So they are there for maybe 30 to 45 days. They get exposure, they work as a manager over there as well, and they come back to the class and deliver those learnings in the class. So it's a way of merging that industry academia gap that is there and is very much there, in fact. So we have to make sure that it is filled with the necessary bricks and mortar.
Lovely. That's a very interesting perspective to, also have the faculties get an industry curriculum and, acquainted to what's happening recently, because like you said, the industry is changing every day. So when you talk about those, you mentioned about the Capstone project as well. So what exactly does a student have to do when it comes to, Capstone projects?
So we have various partnerships with industry. Let's assume, let's take one field will be finance. If we take, for example, Bloomberg or Anandrati or HSBC, they will give us a particular project of some sort, and that project has a particular deadline, guidelines, and output expected from the students. A group of students determined by the faculty will conduct the project, and this project will be corrected by the company. They will give us a report back, and that report will be shared with the students so they know where they're weak and where they can highlight their skills, because ultimately they have to get a job. So to get that job in that particular type of company, talking about big ones, the big four, for example, you need to understand what they are looking for and what are the skills they want. So this is how capstone projects run, and they're longitudinal projects. They are not like 1 week type of projects. They are over a semester, over 1 year type of projects. There is a large output to it.
Okay, that's really nice. Like the duration sounds really interesting. Like 1 week is something, you do superficial work in that case then. So what subjects do you teach for the students?
My area of specialization is mainly AI and machine learning. So I teach applications of this to management and various industries. I'm not the typical techie guy. I come more from a psychology background mixed with technology. So I took that approach, and hence my interaction with the students is more from a cognitive psychology and neuroscience standpoint on technology, obviously, applied to management. So these fields is mainly what I specialize on, but nowadays I specialize on most of other things for good or bad. So this is the area where I have to touch.
Okay, that's very lovely and interesting. So what made you, Dr. Raul, shift from like a psychology to something which is so technology driven? Like AI ML is like the buzzword everywhere these days.
It's not been a shift, it's been more like a merger type. Ultimately, AI, origins of AI are psychology. In fact, artificial intelligence, the term intelligence and the term learning come from pure psychology itself. And psychology in India has been looked upon as some sort of degraded field which only certain unsuccessful segment of a population pursue, like Bachelor of Arts or BSc. Unfortunately, that is not the case abroad. Abroad is a 4 to 5 year degree, full-fledged on only that field, and they explain you the technological implications of psychology as well. So this correlation is critical, so people can actually understand where the linkage happens to the industry. Otherwise, we are just blindly using technology, but we don't know how, we don't know where. That is the larger inconvenience which we see in management as well.
That is actually very true. Like, the way you said it, Dr. Like even in India, definitely it's always been like, if a student wants to after 10th and say that I want to go in for a BSc psychology or a BA, they're always looked down upon. Like I remember back in my graduation days, even my friend who was a topper wanted to do that. And they were like, that's meant for people who are not good in academics, but good to see that there's a lot of correlation and abroad which you are there and you're bringing that out here for the students as well into management perspective. So one last question before we wrap up this is, you have been on the other side, like you are looking at so many students coming from various backgrounds. What is it that you look for in a student? Like who would be a perfect fit for a BBA program?
Well, in my view, there are students of various types. So if we want to put them in a square box, we will look at somebody who is critical, who is concise, and who can be clear. These are basically the 3 C's that I will look at: concise, clear, and critical in a person. Whereas the person can study, can be a good student or not, that is beyond the point. Because good students can be created and nurtured. It's not like they're going to come ready-made from the home. So we have to make sure that at least the critical thinking is open and they're open for learning, not just restricted to the cultural or social mindset.
Wow, that's a really amazing answer. So guys, all the people always talk about academics and profile. And here, Dr. Raul is talking about the kind of mindset and thought process which you are coming across. And I think that's one of the reasons why at Woxsen, we also have a psychometric test, which is a part of the whole selection process. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, that's correct.
Lovely. So thank you so much, Dr. Raul, for sharing your insights with us. It was an amazing pleasure to have you on board and take out time from your hectic schedule. And we would love to keep having you giving more insights to all the students ahead.
Thank you so much.